There are books that don't merely speak, they awaken. Books that look you in the eye and ask questions you've spent years avoiding. This is one of those books. It doesn't whisper to your comfort. It calls to your conscience. Have you ever felt it? That quiet ache tugging at your chest, the feeling that you're meant to do something meaningful, something good, something that actually matters. And yet, days blur into days. Your talent remains untouched, like a gift never unwrapped. Your ideals float somewhere in the future, waiting for a moment that never quite arrives. But Rutger Bregman doesn't have time for that kind of waiting. In Moral Ambition, he begins with a truth sharp enough to cut through our excuses. Your potential, worthless, your talent, wasted, your good intentions, gathering dust. Because the world isn't changed by what you could do, but by what you actually do. It's uncomfortable, but it's also a liberation. This isn't about shame, it's a call to action, a call to rise above mediocrity, to stop performing virtue and start practicing it. Because you don't need to be a saint to do good. You don't need to have all the answers to make a difference. You only need to begin with what you have, where you are. Maybe you've felt overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the world's problems. Maybe you've wondered if one person can really matter. You're not alone. But history is built on people who asked the same questions and still chose to act. Moral ambition is not the pursuit of perfection, but the pursuit of purpose. It's the daily decision to step out of apathy and into responsibility. And that responsibility isn't always grand. Sometimes it's quiet, unseen, uncelebrated, but real. A life lived with moral ambition is not about spotlight or status. It's about alignment between what you believe and what you do. It's about showing up, staying curious, and acting like your choices matter. Because they do. In the journey ahead, you'll discover how to move from inertia to movement, how to focus your energy where it can do the most good, how to stretch your compassion beyond the comfortable, and how to build the stamina to keep going when the applause fades and the work gets hard. This isn't a book about being a hero. It's a book about being human, deeply, courageously human. So if you've been waiting for the right moment to make a difference, this is it. Let's begin. Just start. There's a truth we don't like to face, but we must. Awareness alone doesn't change the world. Ideas don't feed the hungry. Retweets don't rebuild broken systems. Reading and talking and thinking, without action, are just shadows dancing on the walls of change. And yet here we are, living in one of the most privileged moments in human history, with more freedom, more access, more tools for change than most people could have imagined just 100 years ago. And still, so many of us hesitate. We scroll, we nod, we share, but we don't step forward. Why? Because action feels risky, because comfort is seductive, because deep down we're waiting for permission, for certainty, for someone else to go first. But moral ambition doesn't wait. It doesn't apologize. It doesn't wonder if it's qualified. Moral ambition is a fire lit within. The choice to live this one short, sacred life in service of something larger than yourself. It's not a vague hope to make a difference someday. It's a decision to begin, today, with your hands, your voice, your time. Because the greatest waste of the modern age isn't plastic or money, it's human potential, unlived, unseen, untapped. Millions of people who could have changed something, but never did. Not because they didn't care, but because they didn't believe they could. And so they waited, and watched, and the moment passed. But here's the truth that matters, the one worth engraving on your soul. You only get one life, and what you do with it matters. Most of us are wired for the herd. We play by the rules, stay in line, do what's expected, and hope someone else will speak up first. But change doesn't come from the comfortable middle. It comes from the edges. From those brave enough to step outside the script and write their own lines. It comes from people who refuse to be spectators in the story of their own time. And here's the beautiful thing. Action is contagious. Movements don't begin with crowds. They begin with one. One person daring to step forward. One voice rising above the noise. One act of courage that gives others permission to find their own. Most people don't need perfection. They need a witness. Someone to show them it can be done. And when they see it, they follow. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 10, 10 becomes a wave, and a wave becomes a world reshaped. You don't have to be exceptional to begin. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to quit your job or move to the front lines of every crisis. You can be a teacher, an accountant, a nurse, a barista, and still live with moral ambition. Because moral ambition doesn't demand that you change everything. It only asks that you change something. That you begin, that you choose today to do what you can with what you have, and keep choosing that again and again. You don't become a good person and then do good. You become good by doing good. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Just start. Just optimize impact. So you've made the decision. You want to make a difference, not just in theory, not just in spirit, but in real, concrete, life-altering ways. That decision matters. It's rare. It's beautiful. But don't stop there. Don't settle for small wins that soothe the ego but leave the world unchanged. Don't just fix a crack in the wall. Ask what's shaking the foundation. True moral ambition isn't polite. It doesn't stay in safe territory. It doesn't just paint over symptoms. It digs. It dares. It asks the uncomfortable question, what's really broken here? And how can I help fix it? It's a radical shift in how you approach the world. Because instead of beginning with what you love, you begin with what the world needs. You look around with clear eyes and ask, what problems are urgent? What injustices are overlooked? What issues are both vast and solvable? And then, once you've seen the need, you bring yourself into the picture with honesty and humility. What do I bring? Am I a builder of ideas, a finisher of plans, a quiet bridge between people? The truth is, there is no one ideal role. There's only your role, waiting for you to claim it. Good intentions alone won't move the needle. The will to help is noble, but without strategy, it can become noise. If you truly want to do good, you must also want to do it well. That means choosing your battles wisely. It means learning to think like an architect of change, not just a sympathizer. It means working not harder, but smarter, where your effort creates real, measurable, meaningful shifts. This isn't arrogance. It's responsibility. But in your pursuit of impact, beware a subtle trap, only valuing what you can measure. Not everything that counts shows up in charts and graphs. Trust, dignity, courage. These are the invisible scaffolds of every lasting movement. When numbers fall short, you'll need something stronger, a theory of change, a belief, informed and evolving, about how your actions ripple outward, even when the results remain unseen. That kind of belief isn't blind, it's bold. Stay curious. Let questions guide you more than answers. Because the truth is, no one has it all figured out. Real change requires intellectual humility, the courage to admit you were wrong, to adjust your course, to grow. The world isn't static, and neither should you be. And when your path seems strange, when others don't yet understand, take heart. The boldest ideas have always sounded strange in the beginning. Every great leap forward began as a question, a doubt, a refusal to accept, this is just the way things are. So don't fear standing out. Fear standing still. A morally ambitious life isn't about fixing everything. It's about committing to what matters most with everything you've got, and then remaining open, remaining teachable, remaining human. Because when you combine courage with clarity and humility with relentless curiosity, your impact won't end with the moment. It will echo forward, outward, shaping not only the world you live in, but the one we'll leave behind. 3. Widen your moral circle. Once you've begun taking meaningful action, once you've found your voice and chosen your cause, another question arises. Quiet, subtle, but powerful. Who belongs inside your moral circle, and who doesn't? Most of us start small, and naturally so. We care for those close to us, family, friends, neighbors, maybe our local community. But moral ambition asks us to stretch that circle, wider, deeper, further. What if your compassion extended not just to the familiar faces, but to all sentient beings? What if it included people you've never met, people you never will meet, but whose lives will be shaped by the choices you make today? And what if your concern didn't end at the edge of your lifetime, but reached into generations still unborn? This kind of radical empathy isn't idealism. It's legacy. It's power. Because every step forward in history, every expansion of justice, every victory for human dignity, came from someone brave enough to say, "These people matter too." Abolitionists, suffragettes, civil rights leaders. They didn't just fight for themselves, they fought to widen the circle, to rewrite the answer to the question, whose life is worth fighting for? Today, that same courage is needed more than ever. But let's not romanticize it. Widening your moral circle is hard. It's easy to support causes that win applause. It's easy to champion the already beloved. It's far harder to speak for the ignored, to stand with the misunderstood, to defend those whom society has pushed to the margins. Sometimes, doing the right thing won't earn you praise. It may cost you your comfort, your certainty, even your reputation. And yet that is often where the work matters most. This isn't about moral superiority. It's about moral generosity, the quiet belief that every person holds value, and that we all rise when we lift others up. Moral ambition flourishes in community. It needs encouragement. It thrives in spaces where people believe in one another's capacity to grow, to change, to contribute, whether loudly on a stage or silently behind the scenes. So if you want this mindset to take root, surround yourself with others who share it. Seek out people who live for more than themselves. And if you can't find that community, create it. Because solidarity may look strange from the outside, but from within, it feels like fire, like fuel, like home. A mentor can help too. Someone who's walked the path ahead, who can remind you, in your moments of doubt, why you started and where this all leads. In the end, widening your moral circle isn't just about caring more. It's about living wider. It's about choosing a life not defined by the walls around you, but by the horizon ahead. Every time you choose compassion over convenience, courage over comfort, justice over silence, you are reshaping the world, not just for today, but for the centuries to come. 4. Keep fighting the good fight. Lasting change doesn't happen in a flash of glory. It doesn't arrive with a trumpet or a banner or the perfect victory speech. It comes slowly, like water shaping stone. It comes painfully, like muscle learning to grow. It comes faithfully, through the quiet courage of people who refuse to quit. Because real change isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. And sometimes, it feels like running uphill in the dark, with no finish line in sight. There will be days when your hope feels thin, when the mountain looks too steep, when the voices around you, or within you, whisper that it's all pointless. But in those moments, remember, you are not alone. You never were. The fight for a better world is not a solo act, it's a relay. Your job is not to fix everything. It's to carry the torch, as far, as faithfully, as fiercely as you can, and then pass it on. We're standing at a crossroads in history, and the choices we make, right here, right now, will echo into the lives of people we'll never meet. A small course correction today can shape an entirely different tomorrow. But despite the urgency, despite what's at stake, we often drift through our days as if the future is someone else's problem, as if time is infinite, as if silence is safe. It's not. This moment matters, and if that truth ignites something in you, good. Let it. But be careful. Even fire, if left unchecked, can burn you out. Moral ambition is powerful, but it cannot consume you. You are not a machine. You are not a martyr. You're human. And that means you need joy as much as justice, rest as much as resolve. Friendship, laughter, music, beauty, these aren't distractions from your mission. They are the soul of the mission. Because what's the point of fighting for a better world? If we forget how to live in this one, there will always be more to do. Another cause, another crisis, another corner of the world that needs healing. That's the promise and the danger. If you're not careful, you'll start believing the lie that you are never enough, that unless you do everything, you've done nothing. But that's not the truth. The goal was never perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is presence. The goal is doing your part, no more, no less, with purpose, clarity, and care. So lead not with guilt, but with enthusiasm. Let your ambition rise from energy, not obligation, from hope, not shame. Moral ambition should lift you, not wear you down. And if you're still at the starting line, still wondering if it's too late or if you're ready, hear this. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You don't need a flawless plan or a spotless record. The world isn't waiting for saints. It's waiting for willingness. It's waiting for you. So stay faithful, keep going. But don't forget to live along the way. Because building a better world isn't only about sacrifice, it's about savoring too. Final summary. So here we are, at the edge of the final page, the last reflection, the closing breath of a book that was never meant to be read passively, but lived. Moral ambition is not a slogan. It's not a job title. It's a quiet, burning question that lives in the heart. What will you do with your one brief chance to matter? This is not about grand gestures or perfect outcomes. It's not about waiting until you're ready, until the timing is right, or until the world applauds. It's about choosing to act, while you can, where you are, with what you have. We began with a hard truth. Your potential, left untouched, means nothing. It's action, imperfect, unfinished, human, that shapes the world. From there, we learn to optimize impact, not by doing what feels comfortable, but by daring to ask, where is the need greatest? Where can my efforts make a real dent? Where can I serve, wisely, strategically, and with love? Then we widened the moral circle. We looked beyond our tribe, our timeline, our species, and chose to care for those we may never see, never meet, never understand. Because compassion is not a currency to be spent on the familiar. It's the foundation of a life that reaches beyond itself. And finally, we were reminded, this is a long road, a hard road, but not a lonely one. You are part of a relay, not the whole race. Carry the torch, do your part, and then rest, laugh, live. Because moral ambition isn't about breaking under the weight of the world. It's about learning to hold that weight with grace, to walk forward with humility, and to leave behind a trail of light for those who will follow. So as this episode comes to an end, let its questions stay with you, let its spirit challenge you, and let its hope guide you. You don't have to save the world. You only have to refuse to walk past it without trying. Now is the time. This is your sign. Begin. And if this episode touched something in you, share it. Speak about it. Let it be the spark for someone else's fire. And don't forget to subscribe to Guide to Reads, where every book is a compass, and every story is a step toward the world we long to build.